Yep, sorry about that. There you go. So, so this is likely occur. So answer is no. And now is a practical significant. So the practical significant is looking at your results, this results. Okay. So this, there are 5 people and it lost an average of 42 pounds. So is it a lot or is this not a lot? Is this practical?
That'd be a lot.
That's a lot. So in this case, it is practical. Yes, this is practical. So practical, yes, the program is practically significant because the amount lost is large enough. So this is the one that we're looking for here, because 42 pounds is a lot of weight to lose. So, and we don't look at chance. Chance is only work for statistically significant. Okay, so you don't look at the chance when you do practical. Does that answer your question here, Kimberly?
Yeah, I feel like I'll just ignore that end part that it always says like program has no effects even though there is a practical significance.
Again, the practical, you look at the number. So 42 pounds is practical. If it's only 2 pounds or 3 pounds or 4 pounds, then it's not practical.
Right.
And you don't mention anything about chance or no chance anything, because that is only happens in statistical significance. Anyone have any questions? Yeah.
I have one more question.
Yep.
In your notes, it was like at the very beginning for 1.1, you underlined population and then you wrote like an arrow that led to restriction, like the word restriction.
I think the word is all, I think. I think the word I use is all. Let me show it.
Well, I don't know, it was when you were writing on your notes as well.
Like this?
Yeah, and then you underlined population and then you wrote restriction next to it. So what does that mean?
Oh, when this restriction means that not everyone can be inside the population. There is restrictions on it. So for example, like election, when you talk about election, not everyone can vote. You know what I mean? So the population is not all everyone, not all Americans, because there are restrictions like you have to be 18 and older, right, to vote. You have to be US citizen. So those are called restrictions. So mostly when you look at population, don't just assume everyone belongs to the population. They have some restrictions that goes to it. So example is the election that I'm talking about. So they have some restrictions going on.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, if you have any questions, please ask. This is the time that you ask me. Then after that, we move on to to your homework here. More questions for me?
Yes, I have a question. I know we have 3 homeworks that are due tonight.
Can someone wait? Diara, can you talk? Yep.
Yeah. So we have 3 homeworks that are due today. I was wondering if, let's say, you had like a couple of questions that you got wrong, could you go back like later on, even if it's after the due date?
No, after the due date, you will not able to do it. Okay. You can practice it.
Okay.
So yep. So after midnight tonight, you're not able to do it. I mean, it's all, you can actually practice it, but it will not affect your grade. I mean, your grade is still the same. It will lock already. So after midnight today, everything shut. The grade will be locked.
Okay.
You can retry in like when I got questions wrong, they let me try.
Yeah, you can retry until it closed tonight.
Yeah, I understand that. I was just wondering if it was after the due date.
After midnight tonight, then you'll be no. If you say redo it, they won't let you do it. They will lock down. So yep. So right now, yes, right now you can retry all the questions until the end.
Okay.
Until midnight tonight. Yep. Then it will freeze. It will lock. Anyone have any more questions?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yes, Cecilia.
Hi. I have a question about 1.1, question 7 out of 16.
7? This one?
Determine whether the results appear to have statistical significance.
This one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Again, the number is a bit different.
Okay.
So,
question- Sorry, my question is the last part where it says there is about a 24% chance of getting that many babies born female if the method had no effect. I'm really confused at the statement, if the method had no effect.
so this method is talking about having a birth sex selection method.
Mhm.
So I don't know, aware about it. Right now we have if you want to have a baby boy, we have this method that you can get a baby boy,
Mhm.
but it's not 100% you will get a baby boy. You know what I'm saying? So there is some chance that you will not get a baby boy. So that is, but it's very expensive if you want to pay for that procedure. So when they ask for this method, they're asking for practical significance. Okay, if they ask for this method, they're asking for practical significance. So then you look at the results. Out of 1922 babies, 942 born male and 980 born female. You think this is practical? Because this is, you want a female baby.
Mhm.
So in order for this case, in order for you to answer yes, it's practical, means that you will have very high chance getting female baby, right?
Okay.
Because you pay for the it's expensive procedure, you have to pay for it. But what happens now? 942 males and 980 females. Is that a very high chance you get a baby? Female?
No.
It's almost 50-50, right? If you look at the results. So in this case, this method is not practical significant. Okay. If you want to have a practical significant, then out of, let's say, 2,000 babies, if 1,800 babies is born female and 200 babies is born male, then in this case, this is practical. So if you have this result and I want to have a female baby, I will sign up for this method, although I have to pay like 8,000, 10,000 for this method. But the result is pretty good because out of 2,000 babies, 1,800 is female. So this is practical to use. That means that yes, I will pay the 10,000 for this method. But what happens if 2,000 baby is get and only 1,007 is female and 993 is male? This is not practical because I would not sign up for this because I want to pay extra 10,000 and the chance of me getting female and male is very close to 50-50. So why I want to pay $10,000 just for this special procedure to get a female baby? So this is not practical for it. Okay. So that's the meaning of, so when you look at practical, you look at the result. Remember last time we take, 42 pounds is a lot. This is the same thing. You want to have a female baby, then this number for females should be also higher than the male. So that's why this one is not practical because they are almost the same, 50-50 here. You know what I'm trying to tell you here, Cecilia?
I'm getting there. Okay, so I see a less than or equal to 5%, yes.
That is for significant, that is for statistically significant.
So how do you get those percentages?
It's given to us.
W-
This is 20% chance. It has to give you that percent.
There's a 20% chance of getting that many more babies.
So again,
The method had no effect. Okay.
chance is for statistically significant. So since this 20% chance is more than 5%, it is not statistically significant. So every time when you look at chance, you look at statistically significant, you don't look at practical. And the reason why is because this one is because they are almost 50-50. So not many couples will use this procedure because it's close to 50-50. Can someone tell me what is the chance of getting a female here? So 980, right? So you have to use a calculator to figure out this number. So there are 980 female babies. So 980 divided by the total, which is 1922 times 100. So you change this. So this is close to 51%. So say, yep, this is close to 51, right? 50.98. So that means that if you look at this procedure, only 51% is female, which is common. You guys with me here? Which is like, okay, usually female and male is 50-50. This is 51. And don't forget, this procedure costs money. This procedure costs like $10,000 to change the gender of your baby before you even have a baby. So the doctor has to go into the female's systems and change something with the embryo so they will get to female. So that's the reason why that this is not practical, because it's only 51%. If this is like 91%, then it is practical. Then everyone should sign up. I will sign up too if I want a baby girl, because that is a 91% chance. But if you have a 51% chance, you won't sign up, right? Because it's just like, why I need to pay $10,000 more while the rate is only increased by 1% from 50 to 51%. So that's the reason why that this is not practical. Okay, it's like the weight loss. You only lose 1 pound. It's not practical here. Okay, so that's why it's only a difference is little here. So it's not practical. If it's 91, there's a 40% difference. Oh yeah, then it's definitely practical. Cecilia, are you okay there?
Yeah, for now.
Yep, you have to think over it. Yep, I know what you mean. Yep. Anyone have any questions besides this one, Cecilia?
I have a question, but I don't know. I forgot what, I didn't write the number of the question down, but it was in homework 1-3. And it was like pertaining to a total of like 5,000. And it was saying like how much of a percent was returned. And like, I wrote the problem down, it was 5,000 minus 717. I don't know how 14% was, and they said rounded to the whole number. And
okay, next time write down the number so that, and next time just, if you have questions, just ask my instructor.
Okay.
Then I know what question you're talking about, because right now we are spending a lot of time figure out what question is it, because I did not know what question is it too.
I think it was towards the end.
Towards the end.
It was a question like one of these questions.
Okay, and it's
But
about
it was,
what?
It was asking like how, what percent of surveys were returned if a total of 5,000 did
Maybe
this
this.
survey.
Next time, please write down the question, because I do not want to spend wasting time here, because we're looking for. It's easy to just write down or ask me a question. I did not see that towards the end there. I do not know. Is that, you say it's 1.3?
I thought it was, but you're right. Next time I'll write down the question.
Yeah, so please, and can you, Tasha, can you please next time just send me an ask my instructor, then I can, then you don't even ask, I can tell what question you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, do this next time. So yes, so not just Tasha, everyone, if you have any questions, do not be shy to click on this and send me an email, because then I know what's going on. And if 5 of you sending the same question that you need help with, I will definitely go with that question in class, because the 5 of you asking the same question. You know what I'm saying? So please, 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 I cannot find something like this one. I think it's this one then. Yep, I think it's this one.
Yeah, it's that one.
Yep, looks like it. So you say 5,000 are emails and only 717 will return. Okay, what percentage of this is returned? So how do you find the percentage? Anyone?
You multiply by 100, right?
You have to divide first.
7 divide by 5,000.
Yep, 717 divided by 5,000.
Yeah, times 100.
Times 100, yes. So, and this question, if you don't put 14.34 here, because if you read underneath it, it say what? Round to the nearest whole number. You guys know what's the meaning to the nearest whole number?
Yeah.
What's the nearest whole number for 14.34?
It's just gonna be 14.
14.
14, yep. That's it. Yep. And then, so is this response rate appears to be low or not appears to be low? 14% return, is that low return rate
Low.
or
Low.
Low.
it does not appear?
Appears to be low.
It appears to be low because 14% return is very low. Okay, so that's why it's considered appear to be low in this case.
Question, sorry.
Mhm. Before a minute, I haven't finished doing this. Whoever that person is, can you hold on? In general, what problem is very low, low response? So if you have a low response, you have a bias. Getting a bias sample. So you will have a bias. So every time, so this is very important is if someone only like your snail mail, you guys got mail from companies saying that, hey, if you fill in this survey, I give you $5. You guys have that in your mailbox, right? What do you do with that? Do you fill in the survey and send it to them and then you get the $5, or do you just trash it away?
I trash it.
You guys all trash it. So that's why this is what happens. So out of 5,000 mails I sent it out, only 717 reply back with me, return back. So that's why that is a big bias in this case. Oh, no, it's a volunteer. No, it's lack of binding. I haven't read it. Sorry, I need to read. A lack of binding, which creates a serious potential of getting a bias sample. This is correct. Serious potential of confounding, which is for erroneous conclusion. A bias sample that has special interest in the topic. It did not allow for sufficient so random sample. Confounding, for confounding, not it's a confounding.
The answer is C.
It's
I
not
thought it was C.
blinding. I think it's C, yeah, because it is it's a very biased sample. Do you know this 717 who returned back the survey? You think it will you think it's, so the example is if I send you a survey and the survey is about handgun, a lot of you will just throw the survey away, right?
Yeah.
But some of you who fill in that survey is a bias. The reason why it's biased because you like to go hunting. So if you're a person that like to go hunting, and now I'm talking about handgun, you definitely show interest, because if I take the handgun away, that means you cannot go hunting. That's your hobby. So a lot of people who reply back is either very one-sided, either very against it or very with it. You know, like so that's the reason why that it will be someone that will have very special interest in the topic. So same thing happens for this. So every time that if you have a low survey return back, these people who return back shows an interest on that study, and the interest is because they will take away their freedom or take away their amendments or whatever it is. So that's why those people reply back is just is one-sided. Okay. Okay. Who have the next questions asking just now? I'm sorry. Who was the
I have
next?
a question related to this. In terms of the response rate appears to be low. Now, how do we know what's low in terms of a survey?
Usually it's like in the less than 20%. It's
Less than
considered low.
20%.
So usually our answer, our number here is either very low, like very small, like 14%, 5%, 4%, or very high, 90-some%. So I won't give you a number that is right in the middle, like 53. Then you'll be like, is 53% considered high or low? We don't do that in this class. You have to take a special class just for that. It's not even offered in this. It's like you have, that's like a graduate statistic class. But right now, the number that is given to you is either very low, like 14% or 4% or 8%, or very high, like 90%. So it's very obvious. So in a test, same thing happens. If I want you to give a number, that number is either really low or really high. I wouldn't give a number that's like 50 or 55 that you just like, what is 50, 55? Is that low? Is that high? I wouldn't give you that number.
Okay, thank you.
So same thing in the test. I give you either high or low, very high, very low, not in the middle. So you guys, so in the test, you guys will answer one. I mean, if you see low, you understand it's low. You see high, it's high. Questions? All right. So if you have questions, please, as I told you, email me to me. Because today we will concentrate on chapter 2 here. So that is what I want you to do here. So so this is chapter 2. So chapter 1 homework is due tonight, and then chapter 2 homework is due next Wednesday. And chapter 2, you got 3 sections, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. You're gonna use a little bit of StatCrunch for this chapter 2.1. Actually, this is the one. The rest, you do not need to worry about it because I will show it to you how to do that. It's pretty much simple. So what you learn in chapter 1 is how you gather data. Like what kind of data you collected? Is that statistic? Is that perimeter? Is that categorical? Is that quantitative? And then the sampling method you learn, like you also learn like systematic, random, clustered sampling. So this is how you collect the data. So once you get your data is called a raw data. A raw data means a data that is like just pure of numbers. So no one wants to see raw data. So what you do here is in this chapter, once you receive your raw data, you begin to summarize. So there are 2 ways for us to summarize your data. One is draw a table. So 2.1 is where we do a frequency table. So this is what it looks like, a frequency table, or we do graphing. So in this chapter 2 is we summarize your data. So 2.1 we call a frequency distribution or frequency table. So this is what we call as frequency distribution or frequency table. It does have frequency. Frequency is a count, it's a tally. So how many people goes in there. And then we have categories that goes to the left. So it can be a categorical variable like this, where the category here is category like gender, male, female. That means I ask the whole class, how many of you are female and how many of you are male, and I count. There are 8 male in this class and 1 female, for example, in this class. So this is how this is called a frequency table or frequency distribution for categorical. Or I can ask for how many siblings do you have? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I say, how many of you have no siblings? The only child, you got how many people raise your hand? So this is a very straightforward type table here. So this is called a frequency distribution, but sometimes a frequency distribution can look something like this, where it has a range of numbers. For example, this is your height. So I do not want to do a height that looks something. If I ask you guys, what is your height? I do not want you guys to do, this is your height. So let's start with 50, 51, 52, 53 inches, all the way to like 78. And then I ask, how many of you is 50 inches? Then none of you raise your hand, I put a 0. So there'll be a lot of, some of them have a 0 amount on it because there's no one of you was in that exactly 50 or 51 or 52 inches tall. So we do not want to use this kind of frequency distribution because a lot of zeros involved. So what do I do is I begin to do what we call as a range. So instead of 50, 51, 52, 53, so I just say this is 50 to 55 or 54. And then this one is a better frequency table to use instead of doing 50, 51, 52 like that. So now you got a whole group of people and you cannot overlap your number. So if this is 54, then the next one has to be 55. Can someone tell me what is the next number here? If this
59.
is very good. The difference here is 4, right? So 54, the difference is 4. So you just keep adding 4. So 55 plus 4 is 59. And then the rest, 60 will become 64. And the rest, you guys know what to do. You guys okay here with how you build a frequency? So make sure you guys know it's no overlapping here and not have the same number. And so I begin to do some vocabulary or terms. So we have what we call as a lower class limit. What is the lower class limit? Lower class limit is the smallest number of that class can take. So this whole thing is your lower class limit. I just short form it to lower class limit. And the one that goes the other side, the upper one, the highest one, This is called the upper class limit. So this is called the lower class limit and upper class limit. For such thing as male and female like this, we have no lower and no upper class limit. If you just have like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this is one also has no lower and it also have no upper class limit. So we don't have any lower and upper class limit in this case. Okay, for this one, yes, this is lower, this is upper. You guys all right with the lower and upper class limits?
Yeah.
Next is the class boundary. So what is a class boundary? A class boundary is a number that separates classes. Okay, so usually how do we find class boundary? In order for us to find a class boundary is you find the average between the upper and the next lower class. So do you guys know what's the meaning when I say find the average?
Yeah.
Add them up and divide it by 2. So what is the class boundary for this case? 55 and 54, when you add up, divide by 2, this is 54.5. Okay, and then you have to do the same thing for the next class boundary, which is the 59 and 60. So this will be 59.5. And then this is very special. Please pay attention. There is also another class boundary for 50 and 49. This is a special one. And that class boundary is 49.5. And then there is also another class boundary for 64 and 65. That will be 64.5. So what I want to tell you here, class, this is very important. This one has 3 classes, right? This is called classes. So we got 3 classes here, but how many boundaries, class boundaries do we have?
2.
We have 4. So if you have 3 classes, you always will have an extra 1, 4 class boundary. So what happens if you have 6 classes? Then you should have how many class
7.
boundary? You should have 7 of them.
7.
Yep, 7. Okay, so it's always 1 more than what you have in your classes, the boundary. And this is how you figure it out.
Well, hold on. 1, 2, 3.
And then, so this is class boundary. The next one we're going to talk about is class midpoint.
I have a
So-
quick question.
Mhm.
So if you were so like for 50 and 54 and 55 and 59,
Mhm.
it's going up by 3s. But if you're going to the special one,
By
wouldn't you
4.
increase by 3? I mean, it's
By
increasing
4.
by 4. Wouldn't you decrease by 4 for the special boundaries? Why is
No,
it 49 instead of?
Because if you have the next one, this is actually is 45 to 49.
Okay. I see now.
And then, so that's why we use that 49 over here. And if you continue working on next one, is 65 to 69. That's why we use that 65.
Yeah, that helps way more because I was
Mhm.
confused.
Yep. So this is extra. So you do not need to show it, but you know but you need this to do your class boundary. Yep. So the next one we talk about is class midpoint. What is class midpoint? A class midpoint is the middle of the class. So what you do is you take the lower and the upper of the same class, you add up by 2. So when you talk about class midpoint, you take the same class, these 2, you find the average. So what is the average between 50 and 54? This is called a midpoint.
52.5.
Nope, it's exactly 50.
Oh, 50.
50 plus 54, 104 divided by 2 is 52. And you do the same thing on here. So what is the midpoint of 55 and 59? So if you add this and divide by 2, this will be 57. You guys know how to add this and divide by 2, right? And then 60 to 64 is 62. So I just want to point out to you that if you have 3 class, then you also will have 3 midpoints. Okay, so the midpoints and the class match. So if you have 6 classes, you should have 6 midpoints. But boundaries, you always have an extra 1 more. You guys all right here? So this is what we call as class midpoint. And finally, is class width. What is class width? Class width is the difference between 2 consecutive lower class limits. So if you look at these two, 50 to 55, what is the difference between those two?
5.
5. So that is what we call as your class width. You also can do the 2 consecutive of your upper class, also 5, right? 59 and 54, the difference is 5. Or if you look at this, do you see a pattern on your class boundary? What can you tell me the pattern from here to here to here to here? They all increase by what? 5, yes. Same thing with your midpoint. Do you see a pattern also on your midpoint? They all also increase by what? Also 5.
Right.
So this is what I will tell you. If you do this in my test, if you find out that your midpoints and your boundary points and your lower class and upper class, they all have a difference of 5 in this case, that means you are in the correct track. But if this is 5 and then this is 6 and this is 4, then something is wrong with this frequency. Okay, so make sure that if you have 5, everything is 5. Okay, so this is what we call as your midpoint. You guys all right here? Your class width, sorry, this is called a class width.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So for the numbers that are boundaries, how you will calculate it? Like, how did you get the 49.5?
You find that you take this 49 and 50, you find the middle, the average.
I need the new one.
Okay, are you?
So you take 49 plus 50, and then divide by 2. Okay, Rachel, I might need to mute you back. So this is how you get the 49.5. You take the average between those two.
Saying that, I
I
told
got
you,
it.
it's not my problem.
Zamzam, I need to mute you. Yep. So you guys okay here? All right, let's do some homework because then you know what's going on with the homework here. I think the first few questions is all, yep, this one. Let's do this one. So this is A, B, C, D, F. This is the frequency. The question wants you to find the relative frequency. The relative frequency is actually in percent. You see all this in percent. So you just need to change all these numbers to become percent. Do you guys know how to change the first number to become percent? Who get A?
0.03.
No. You have to find the total of your frequency first, because it's not 100 here. It's not 100 people. It's not 100 students here. So in this case, you have to add your total first. 3 plus 14 plus 13 plus 8 plus 3. So there are 41 here. Okay. So how do you find the students who get A in this class? You take the frequency 3 divided by the total 41 times 100%. So this question says you have to round in 2 decimal places. Can you round this in 2 decimal places for me? 7.32. 32, yes. So make sure you guys know how to round, because if you round wrong, they will mark you wrong. You guys okay here? And for those who get B's, so how do you find B? Anyone know how to figure out B here?
14 divided by 41 times 100.
Yep, perfect. I think you need a calculator, basic calculator like this. So your answer in this case will be 34.15.
15.
Make sure you guys know how to round, okay? And I think you guys know how to do the rest, right? Okay, 13 divided by 41 times 100, and so do the rest. So this is how we do question 2, which is pretty much, we call it relative. So every time when you hear the word relative frequency, the word relative came out, means you change that number to become percent. Okay, so you take that number, divide by the total, times 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question. Are you recording this class, please?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I
Yeah.
am. Yep.
Because like I didn't complete the notes from the
It's
first.
fine. It's fine. It's as I told you, all your classes recorded.
Okay.
And please let me know if it's not recorded. It's very easy. It's in your corner on the top left. Do you see that this video is recording?
Oh, okay.
On your top left of your screen.
Yeah, I see the red.
Yep. The red dot. Yep. That means it's recorded.
All right. Thank you.
All right. This one, can someone tell me what is your lower class limit here?
Lower class.
5, 15,
5,
25.
15,
Yeah.
25.
Okay, good. You guys got it. Okay. So you had to type it out. 5, that's what you just mentioned, right? 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, and 65. Good. This is your homework. We are doing your homework now in 2.1. How about your upper class limits here?
14, 24.
14,
Okay,
24, 34.
Okay. You guys know how to. This is easy. This is not tough, right? I think you guys can do this.
No.
Yeah, do you like?
I know it's gonna get tough. Trust me, it's gonna get tough. What is the class width? So how do you find class width? Do you guys remember how we find class width? How do we find 5 here? Anyone remember how you find class width 5 here? It's taking what? 2 consecutive lower class, right? The difference. So what is your class width in this case?
5.
10.
10 is
Oh,
2
10.
consecutive
Oh, yeah, sorry,
between
10.
those, right? So what's 5? 10, right?
Yes, 10.
You guys okay here?
Mm-hmm.
Next, midpoints. Do you remember how we find midpoints here?
Mm-hmm.
How I find 52? I take 50 plus 54 divided by 2, right? So how do you find your midpoint in this case?
Let me see.
I will take 5 and 14. What do I do with it?
Plus
Add it and then
Come up,
divide.
and then divided by
2.
9.5.
So your answer in this case will be
9.
9.5. Okay here? And since we know the class width is 10, so what will be the next class midpoint is? Since this is 10,
19.5.
yep, so you keep on adding 10. So 19.5 followed by what?
29.
29.
29. So you keep on adding 10 because that's your class width.
49.5.
Uh-huh. Yep. You guys got it.
69.
Uh-huh. You guys okay?
Yep.
For the midpoint. Now for the boundary. Now remember last time when you find the boundaries, you take the 50 and 49, right?
Yeah.
And then you add up, divide by 2. That's why you get 49.5. So can someone tell me what is your first class boundary? 5 and what? What is the number if you want to put it
0.
down? Not
I'll say
0.
0. I'll say 0.
6.
No.
4.
Look at all these. Look at all your upper class. They all ends with what number?
-4.
4.
4. So that means that this is 5. Then this one has to be what?
Okay.
A 4. So what is the average of these two numbers? So 4
4.5.
plus 5 divided by 2, right?
Yeah, 4 by 5.
Which is 4.5. So that is your class boundary. Your first class boundary is 4.5. Where you take the 5 and the 4 on before that, you add up by 2. How do you figure out the next one? Again, because our class width is 10. So what you do, like the midpoint, you keep on adding what?
10. 14.5.
You get 14.5, 24.5, and so on. But do not forget in your test, if this question come up in your test, it's not going to be a box like this. So you can tell how many. You need to know that how many classes we have in this table.
1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Seven.
7. Then how many should you have for the class boundaries?
7,
No.
8.
8.
8.
Sorry.
Don't forget, you have to add extra 1. So when you start from 4.5, you have to count yourself. You should give me 8 answer. So it should go all the way till 74.5. You cannot go over than that. The more you put it down, I will take points off. So make sure you have 8 class boundary here. You guys all right here?
Yeah.
You have to
So
practice.
far.
So far, yes. Make sure you practice. This one you need practice. Then the asked question is how many numbers of individuals in the sum? What is this question asking? Does anyone know what is this they're asking for?
Is it total number?
Yes,
The
the total
frequency.
number, total
Yeah.
frequencies. So what you need to do is take out your calculator and do what with these frequencies? Add them.
Okay.
Okay, and then you do it yourself. I think you guys know how to use a calculator to add these numbers, right? And that is your answer, and that's it. That's what you need to do for this. 83. I don't know. Okay, yeah, good. That's it. You guys okay with this homework? You need to
This,
practice.
yes.
Okay, and same thing happens in question 4. They ask the same thing, but different tables.
Mhm.
You can go, again, you have to go and try it. Now we're gonna talk about what we call as-
I have a question.
Huh?
I have a question.
Mhm.
How did you get the width again?
The width is the difference between your two consecutive, 50 and 55. So how do you find the width is the difference between 5 and 15.
Okay, 10. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep. Make sure you know this. It's important. All right. Next, we talk about is a normal distribution. So what is a normal distribution? This is the meaning of normal distribution. A normal distribution is where your frequency starts low and then goes back high and then goes back low. So what happened is you look at your frequency. This is your frequency. If your frequency starts from low, high, low, this one doesn't have low, high, low because 19 and then 1, it goes to low, and then you go back to high and then go back to low. So it's not, so it has to be low, high, low. For example, it looks something like this. If your frequency is, let's say, 2, then followed by 5, followed by 10, followed by 4, followed by 1. So this is what I call low, high, low. It's cut from 2 and then up to 5, up to 10, and then go back down low. So this is called low, high, low. And it has to be symmetrical. So if you read through it, the distribution has to be symmetrical. Symmetrical means it has to be mirror image. What I mean by that is the 10 is the highest one. And you notice that the 5 and the 4, the numbers are quite the same. It not to be exactly 5, 5 or 4, 4. And then the 2 and 1 is also quite the same. So if you have such a frequency, then we will say this is a normal distributed. Because it goes from low, high, low, and is symmetrical. Okay, and it not necessary to be exact 5, 5 and exact 1, 1 or 2, 2 here. It can be a little bit off. And when I say little bit off, maybe 1 or 2 numbers shy off. Okay, so again, we will never get perfect. So in statistics, you never get a perfect number like 5, 5 and 2, 2 like this. It will be sometimes 1 or 2 numbers off, which is fine. It's for us, it's still okay. Okay, so this is called normal distributed. So if you look at your homework on this question, they ask you, is this a normal distributed? So look at this frequency. Is that go from low, high to low? Is that symmetry? That means symmetrical. You cut 15.5 in the middle here.
Yes.
Do you think the number
Yes.
is symmetrical? So in this case, is this normal distribution? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
because it start from low, high, low, and Is that B or is that D?
B.
Boy, because you say it is also approximately symmetry. You guys okay here?
Yes.
So that is called, so this frequency is considered normal distributed. So if you have something like this frequency, this is not normal distributed because it's not start from low, high, low. So if it's not low to high to low, it's not, you don't worry about the symmetrical case. Okay. Next, now this one is you have to tally up. You guys know what's the meaning of the word tally up? That means you have to count, these are the data, how many of these data falls between 15 to 20.9. So like this 17.7 is one of them, 19.2 is one of them, 18.3 is one of them. You see that? So in this case, there are 3 numbers that falls between this range. You guys okay here? Now, there's a lot of work, right? So you say, oh my God, this is a lot of work. Is that a shortcut? Yes, there is a shortcut. So this is what I mean, you can do this, you can tally up your own. The shortcut I can tell you here is do you see this little folder? Just click on it and say open in StatCrunch. So they will import all this number into StatCrunch. So all these numbers is in there. So your StatCrunch can actually sort these numbers. Sort means arrange from low to high. So how do you do that? Is you go under data, see the sort underneath here?
Yeah.
And then you select the column to become var1. var1 means is this var1 column. Ascending means low to high. You can do descend, but I recommend ascend. Descend means high to low. And then you compute. So what happened is that your StatCrunch will automatically take this number and arrange from low to high. So now you can read this very easily. There are 3 numbers from this range. Can you tell me how many numbers is from 21 to 26.9?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
9.
9, 10.
So it's 9, not this one, right? So it's 9, right? This is the last one. So this is easy for you guys to count because you do not need to find 1, 2, 3, like over here. This is all done for you. You guys okay here? I'll leave the rest for you to do because this is not that difficult. You just count them, from here. And I think you guys know how to count. Same thing happens to, this one is a bit more difficult. So, so again, this is the data. So this is the one that I will ask you during test time. So please pay attention here, very important. It says that refer to the company data. This is the data. You click on it to see your data. There are 30 data here, and they say begin with 2.72. So 2.72 is where you start with a class width of 0.01. So the first thing you need to figure out is you have to figure out the addition of this. So you take 2.72 and you add this with 0.01. So you get 2.73. So where do we put 2.73? Is that over here? Or is that below here? This is very important. So where do you put your 2.73? On the right side or below it? Anyone?
Well, the width would be below it.
The width, remember that this is the width. Do you guys remember what is the definitions of width? Remember this width? Should we put that underneath here or should we put it on the other side?
Next to the 2.720.
Underneath.
Underneath or to the right? Which one? Which one is the correct one?
I think
Underneath.
It's underneath because what is the definitions of class width again? Is 2 consecutive lower class limit, right? So you should put it underneath it. So if you put 2.73 here, the rest of your work is wrong. I can tell. I didn't recheck it. I know they're all wrong already. Okay, so if this is 2.73, can you tell me what is the one underneath 2.73? This is 2.72, 2.73, 2.74, and the next, you guys know how to do this one, right? 2.75 and 2.76. So my question is, what number do you need to put on the right side of 2.72? 2.7.
2.
Right before it.
2. 2 what?
7, 2.
2. One more because they're all 3
2,
decimal.
4.
Cannot be 4. What is a number very close to 3? 9. Now, a lot of students do this in your homework or your tests. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9.
No.
Okay, no, the answer is you're correct. No, this is wrong. Because if you look at your data has how many decimal places?
3.
3.
You have 3. So that means your answer will also have to have 3 decimal places. This is too many. So this is the one that we need.
So what about for the ones that we did for the lower class levels? Would
You
those
can
have
put
to
a
have
0 again. Yep, the 0 is optional. Can you tell me
2.729?
2.7? I'm sorry?
How did you get 2.729?
That's a number that is smaller than 2.730.
Nick, it's time for potty and nap.
Number?
I'm sorry.
Potty and nap. Do you want to go potty upstairs or down?
Someone please mute yourself. So who was that? Okay, can someone? So
I was
the 2.
asking how did you get 2.79? Like, can it
2.9?
be any number?
Yeah, it's just get a number smaller than him.
Okay,
Very,
so it doesn't
like,
have
this
to
is
be
30.
2.79. Okay.
This is 30, so 29 would be the one that is smaller than that one.
Okay.
And this one will be 2.739, and so on. 49, because 49 and 50 is like one shy. Okay, so you always get a number smaller than this, and then to find your frequency, I would recommend again import this into your StatCrunch. And then this is all the numbers. And then what you do, you go to data, you go to sort, and then you go to the column and you select var1, and then you hit compute. And they will automatically, you can shut this one off, that's automatically arranged for you. So now you can figure out how many of these falls into the first class. First class is 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 numbers here that falls into this class.
So just one for the StatCrunch one more time. So you go to data.
You go to data.
Variance, source.
You go to sort.
Okay, after variance, sorry, data is
data, sort.
Okay.
And then select column here. You put VAR1. And then you compute.
Okay, so after this, sorry, StatCrunch, data, sort, select variance one.
Select column.
Select column.
To VAR1. This is all recorded, Rachel. I want you to go back and rewatch it again.
Yeah, I will. Just want to see.
Yep, because we need to move on so go home and watch this again. So this is how you figure this one. I will show it again one more time. And then the rest, I think you guys can do it, right? Once you got your data sorted through. So you just need to figure out how many of these are here. All right. I think the rest is pretty much the same. So this one again is the data is from here. So again, I showed it to you, Rachel. So click on this. Okay. Open in StatCrunch. Go to data, go to sort, go to the select column, VAR1, and then compute.
Okay, so for each time you go, whatever you send there, it's what you're gonna get. It doesn't keep record of your past.
No.
Okay,
no.
That's great.
You have to repeat.
Okay.
And you have to yep. Yeah. You guys all right here? And then once you sort through this, you can easily figure out how many numbers are fall between 20 to 29. There's only one, right? One actor. You guys okay here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just again, you need to practice on your StatCrunch. This is, all right, this is the one that I want you guys to do. So 124.8 is the starting point, and they say the class width is 0.2. So I take 1.24.8 plus 0.2, that will give me 125. So my question is, where do I put 125 at? On the next to the right or below it?
Below it.
Good. 0.0 if you want. And then what you do after that? What's the one below it?
Add 0.2.
Add 0.2. So what you get when you add 0.2 here? You get 125.2, right? And add another 0.2, you get 125.4. And add another 0.2 is 125.6. So my question is, what is this number on the right side? If this is 50, what number is, this is 48. So what is 4850? What number should that be?
Can we say 124.9?
0.9.
Yes, 124.9, because that will be one little bit off on 50. And then can someone tell me, this is 50, then 52. So what is this number will be?
0.1.
0.1. And also you can tell that what is the difference between these two numbers? Is 0.2, right? 0.9 and 4.9 and 5.1, the difference is 0.2. So you can actually add 0.2 to it, so you become 0.3. And then you add 0.2, become 0.5, and then 0.7. You guys okay here? And then for the frequency, you just need to open this data, and then you just need to go to the same thing, open in StatCrunch. Now, this time is special because we want to arrange this number. You see that? This is a data that, this is just the days. We don't care about this. This is the one. So what you need to do here is you go to your data, you go to the sort as usual. This time when you select your column, when you select your column here, you will select, this is what the column says, because we don't want to select day, we want to select home. So you have to select home here and compute. So what happened is all these numbers will be arranged now.
Okay.
So last time we called it VAR1 because this is called VAR1 when we the first previous examples. But this time this is called home. So make sure you select home, then they will do. But if you select day, they will do day for you. Okay, but we don't care about the days in this case. You guys all right here?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When we were done with the class width and we started looking for the boundary, how do we get that 1.24.9 again?
This one
Mhm.
is just you have to use the number sense that this number is smaller. It's between 48 and 50. So it's
Okay.
going to be 49. So you have to kind of use your number sense in this case. That is very close to 50 in this case.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So that's all based on your number sense. So you have to, so make sure you know your what's number before it. All right, this one is the next one. This is all in percent. And if you click on this, this is the frequency distribution. This is for the non-filter, and this is for the filter. But if you look at the non-filter, do we have anything from 5 to 10 milligrams? Because it starts from 17 to 22, right? So do you have anything that goes from 5 to 10? We don't have such case, so that this one will be 0. Do you have any frequency from 11 to 16 milligrams?
No.
No, so this will be 0. But we do have 17 to 22. So how do you find this percent? You take 1 over by what? The total.
1, 2, 3,
So you have to find the total here first, which is
29, 35.
35.
35.
Is that 35? Let me just add
Yeah.
16 plus 9, 25, right?
Mhm.
So you have to take 1 over 25 times 100. So that is 4%. So this one will be 4. This one is also 4 because it's the same one. And then I know the 41 to 46 is also 4 because they all have the same frequency. And then the rest, you just do the same thing, 16 divided by 25 times 100. And then now you go to the filter one. This is the filter one. So we start from 5 to 10. So that means this one you have a percent. So again, I think the total is 25. So this is 1 out of 25, which is also 4. And then 11 to 16 is 3 out of 25 times 100. So that is 12. But it goes all the way till 28. Then what happens to 29 and 34 for this case? It will be 0 because there's no data for that. And then it will be 0 for the other rest of it. You guys all right here?
I have a question for the relative frequency. So how do you get the percentages again? Do you just add
you add the frequency
and then divide by the number?
Yep. And no, you take that number, divide by the total. So you take the frequency.
So you do 1, I think I get it.
Divide by your total. And then times 100%.
Yep, got it. Yeah.
So you do the same thing for the rest. Questions? All right. So next thing. Yep.
Yeah, there's some, like in the chapter 1 homework, there are some, even though they are percentage, you can round them up.
Rachel, can we talk about that?
I'm trying to relate it to this chapter so that even if you're looking for percentage, you don't necessarily, if you're asked not to round up, you don't round up, right? You just
yes, you are correct.
Okay.
Like that question just now that didn't say anything rounding, so you don't round anything.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but sometimes you get an answer that is like probably like, let's say 4.2%.
Then you put
sometimes you put the 4, they said it's wrong. The answer is wrong. So you have to like add it because there was one of the questions that
so
I had to round before checking my answer and it said it was wrong. So that's like
if the question didn't mention anything, then you have to put 4.2.
Okay.
If a question mentioned only whole number, then your answer is 4.
Okay.
So read the questions very carefully with your online homework, and they will tell you what they want. Next thing we're going to talk about is called cumulative frequency. What is a cumulative frequency? Is you accumulate the frequency from that frequency and you add the previous frequency. So what do I mean by here is if I want to find the cumulative frequency for less than 30 years, so less than 30 years is the first class, which is 28. So these are the number of best actors who age less than 30 years old to get the award. But for less than 40 means it's from 20 to 39. So what you need to do here is you have to add these two frequency out. So for this case, you have to add 28 and 34. So this is 62. And then for less than 50, you have to add 49, 39, and 29. So the three of this. So now you have to add 28, 34, and 14, which is the same thing as adding 62 plus 14. Yes. So this is 76. You guys all right here with cumulative frequency? For 60, you add everything from 59 and all the way down. So 28, 34, 14, and 2. But since we already add 28, 34, 14 already here, which is 76, we just need to add 2. So this is 78. Can someone tell me what will be the next one for the 70? So what you need to add here?
80.
78 plus 4.
4, yes. 78 plus 4. What 78 plus 4 is?
82.
82. Yep. And can you tell me what's the next one? 82 plus what?
2. So
2.
84.
84. And what's the last one?
85.
85. So this is how you do the cumulative, is you keep on adding that frequency and the one before it. Questions? Right. Next, this is the same thing. This is other numbers. Again, how you find your frequency? You take the number 52. This is for Monday, divided by what? The total. You have to add them all up, and then times 100%. So, and this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, and so on. Okay, so it's the same thing we did, but just a unique calculator. This is the rest is fine. So this is how we do 2.1 homework. You guys all right here? Okay.
Yeah.
Please, 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 I will recommend you guys to do this homework because it's important and it's in your test. So next we talk about is 2.2 histogram. Okay, so this is not a lot of work. So for your so let's say that if you want to do a histogram in your R, this, let's say this is the home that you need to draw a histogram. So what you do here is you hit graph and you hit histogram. And then we are one home. Don't forget, home is the one that we need to draw the graph here. And then you hit compute and you guys get a histogram. So this is a histogram.
That's so cool.
It's very easy. That's why you don't need to do it. So again, let me repeat again. So in order for you to draw the histogram, you do the graph, you hit the histogram. That's what I want. And then you don't want days because this is useless. The home is the one that I want. So you click home and then you compute. And then this is the histogram. And this is called the class width. So 0.2 is your class width. And this is your lower class. This is your upper class. And then this is your frequency. So this is 6. You guys okay here?
Okay.
Can you repeat the lower class and upper class again, please?
This is your lower class, 124.8. And your upper class is 125. Actually, it's less than 125. It should be 124.99999. Okay. And then this is your frequency. That means 6 days, you get this voltage. And then 5 days, you get the other, this range. So this is called a histogram. You guys all right? I will show to you more about it. You will get too used to it. So this is called a histogram. So a histogram is actually looks like a bar. And then it has your lower and your upper frequency, lower and upper class limits. And the one over here is your frequency. So that, like what you guys see over here, this is the home voltage. This is your frequency. So when you guys have a histogram, the first important that you guys need to know about this is how you interpret it. So in order for you to interpret the histogram, you need to tell me the center, the range, the distribution, and the outliers. So what is the center? The center is the middle. So how do you find the middle? So if you have a histogram that looks something like this, how do you find the middle? Is first thing first, you have to add all the histogram, the numbers out. So how do you add the number out is you figure out the frequency. So the first one is 6. This one is 5. This one is 4. And then this 2 is 5. So this total is 25. And I'm gonna teach you how to find the median of this histogram. So median is half of the total. So if you take that total 25 and divide it by 2, you get 12.5. Now this is not your median, this is the location of it. So what you need to do is you have to do the cumulative up to 12.5. So the first one we have is 6, so it's not 12.5. And then you add 6 and 5. 6 and 5 is 11, still less than 12.5. and then you add 6, 5, and 4. So 6, 5, and 4 is 15. So 15 is actually right more than 12.5, right in the middle. So that means that your median is right over here. And how do you find it? So let me, because I cannot draw here. So let's say you got this. Sorry. And we know the median is right here. So in order for us to draw it, you draw an X. You contact this end of the bar to this end of the bar. You draw a line here. And then you do the same thing from here to here. You draw a line here. So once they intercept right in the middle here, this is your median. So if you do the same thing for this part, oh, by the way, let's take attendance because it's almost, can you do present? Thank you, Guido, take attendance here. Can everyone, all of you please type present, thank you. So what happens here is, so since we know it's right in the middle here, so if you kind of draw this right in the middle, so this actually will cross in the middle of this number. Can someone tell me what number is right in the middle between these two numbers? 125.3. So that is your median. So your median in this case is 125.3 because it's right in the middle of this bar. So this is how you find the what we call as your the center, right in the middle. And then the range is very easy. So in order for us to find the range, what is range? Range is you just tell me what is the low and the high. So by looking at this histogram, the lowest, the minimum that you can have is 124.8. This is your lowest. And the highest is what? 125.8. So that is your range in this case. You guys with me here? So range go from low to high. Okay, and that's your range. And then the next thing we talk about, this is very important, is called the distribution. So we got 4 types of distribution. One is called a uniform distribution. A uniform distribution is where if you draw the histogram, all the bars are kind of flat like this. This is called uniform. You guys with me here? If you have a skew is where you get a tail, like you're tailing in. So if your tail is on the left side, so example like this is your tail here, and your tail is on this left side, it is skewed to the left. And if your tail is on the right side, so you're tapering off, this is called tapering off the tail, then this is called skew to the right. And if you have a normal, this will be looks like normal distribution, means it has low as to high to low and symmetric. This is normal distribution. So if you look at this graph, can you tell me, is this a uniform? Is this a skew left, skew right, or is that symmetry, bell shape? So what is the distribution for this case?
Can we look at the previous notes?
Is that going to be somewhat the same height? Is that have a tailing on the left, tailing on the right, or is that more symmetrical?
Symmetrical.
Symmetrical means it's low to high to low. Do this one have low to high to low?
No.
No, so it's
tail to the right, skewed right. But
do we have a tapering off? If you want to skew to the right, that means you will have a lot of things here like what we have, and then you have a little bit on the right side. This is skewed to the right. Do we have such things?
This is uniform.
Is normal distribution?
Normal.
This is actually is uniform.
Oh.
Why I say this is uniform? Because this is 6, this is 5, this is 4. So all these numbers, they are very what?
Close.
Close. So if they are close, means that if you draw the graph will look something like this. They're all like 6, 5, and 4. They're like, you know, a little bit. So this is actually is a uniform case. Okay. So if they are cut, so this is uniform. Okay. And the last thing we talk about is outliers. Do you guys know what is outliers?
No.
Outliers is where you
doesn't like belong.
Yep. So outliers is this kind. This is what we call as outliers. Outliers is where it is further away from the rest of the group. Okay. Do we have any outliers in this case?
No.
No.
No, we don't have any outliers. So in this case, no outliers. So in your test, if this picture came out as your histogram, because usually I don't call you to draw it, I give it to you, you have to read it. And I say, I want you to interpret this histogram. And how do you interpret this? You need 4 things. One is your center. This is your center. So the median, you have to write this in full sentence, no shortcut, is 125.3. And don't forget the unit is volts. Okay, the units is volts. So this is 1. 2, you have to give me the what we call as the variation, the range. So the range is 124.8 to 125.8 volt. So this is the what you need to do in my test. This one worth 4 points because there are 4 things you need to tell. So you have the center, you have the variation, now you have the distribution. So the distribution in this case is uniform. And the last thing you need to tell me is your outliers. This is the last one. There are no outliers in this case.
I have a question.
Yep.
For the range, aren't you supposed to subtract those? Or
Yes.
is it you're just gonna
Yep.
put it?
In this case, I just put it over here, but if you subtract it and you give me 1, if the difference is 1 here, I'm fine with it. So if you can give me the range is 1 volt or the range is from this to that, I'm okay with it. But later on, you will figure out that I'm actually wanting this. Okay, but right now, you can give me anything you want. You guys all right how we interpret this? Is that tough? Because
So
that is what,
variance, range, distribution, and outlier, they are the 4 things you look out for in histogram graph.
Yep, you are correct. So I am going to build a histogram now, and you have to tell me what is it looks like. Interpret it. Just now I just did, and that's probably the end of today's class because I'll be happy if you know how to do that because it's important. As I told you, this in your test worth 4 points. All right, so I'm gonna do a histogram on H here. This is a so I'm gonna draw a histogram. You don't need to worry about that, and we do H. Usually in the test, I won't call you to draw a histogram. I will give you the histogram like this, and you have to interpret this. So does anyone know how to find the median in this case? So you have to add the numbers up, right? Like what we did, remember we add all these numbers up. So if you doesn't know the numbers, usually I will tell you in the test. So this one is 22. So the first number we have is 22.
Okay.
Okay.
Next one is 11 and 12. And then followed by 5 and, let's see that one. 5 and 3 and 1, 5, 3, 1.
Okay.
So what is the total in this case? So add them all up. 22 plus
31, 43.
54.
54.
54. And as you guys know that in order for you to find the median, you have to take this number and divide it by 2. So that will give me 26.
27.
27, thank you, 27, sorry, you're right. So now your answer is not 27, you have to find the total, the 27. So this one is already 22 and this one is 11. So 22 plus 11 is 33. 33, so that means your median is actually on the second bar. So if you draw an X here, can you tell me what is this number? This is 0, this is 50. Can you tell me what is this number?
25.
25, right? So, but the median is right in the middle here, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me what is the middle number between 25 and 50? So what you do is you add them up and divide it by 2, right? 50, so right in the middle. So 50 plus 25.
37.5.
37.5, right? So that means your median in this case is 37.5. This one, the unit is all in months. It's the age of the bear. So how old are the bears? So they are, so this is it. Okay, the age is in month. I will tell you in the test, I will give you the unit. Next, can you tell me the range? What is the range here? The smallest one is
0.
0 and the highest one is
200. So the range is going to be 200.
So the range is 200, or you can say 0 to 200. I'm okay with it. You can say 0 to 200. Oh, this is 200. Doesn't matter what you tell me as long as you know it's it's 0 to 200. Can you tell me what kind of distribution is this?
Outliers.
Distribution.
Sorry.
Is that skew left or skew right?
Skew right.
Skew right.
Yep, because it's tapering off on the right. The tail is on the right side. So this is actually skewed to the right. So the distribution is skewed to the right.
Right.
Sorry, I have no time. And do we have any outliers in this case?
Yeah.
Yes.
This one is
200.
outlier. So how many outliers we have? Since the frequency is 1. So there will be 1 outlier in this case. So how do we answer this? This is how we answer. The median is this. The range is that, skewed to the right, and there will be 1 outlier in this case. You guys all right?
Yep.
So this is what I will ask in your test. So make sure you guys know how to do this. You guys okay here? We call it as your C, V, D, and O. Okay. So I'm trying to do your homework here. So don't forget, your homework does consist of 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. The 2.2 and 2.3 is mostly about graph. So I would recommend you guys to go to read through it. I think that's videos, right? In your D2L, remember the videos. So watch this video, especially with 2.2 and 2.3. I think 2.2, you got like how many homework? Only 8 homework. Is it 8? Yeah, only 8 questions in 2.2. Okay, and then 2.3, I think it has maybe, it's not a lot, 10 questions. So they are not, but 2.1 is a main chapter in this case. 2.2 and 2.3 is not too much. So make sure you guys read this, go through this, especially the YouTube one is very good. Okay, I don't know how many of you watched the YouTube one, but I recommend you do it. Before I end the class, does anyone put in attendance? The present? If you have not, please do so. If this is the end of the class, if you want to stay, you can stay. If you don't want to stay, you can go. I want to teach you how to import your data into your computer. So how do you do that is you go under the D2L, you go to material, you go to content, and that should be called a data. So click on the data and then you click on here and to download. So make sure you download this into your computer. Make sure you, usually it's in the C drive, somewhere in the C drive. Something will pop up over here for downloading it. So it's down so right here. So now when you hit download, just hit this little tab, double click it. There should be a place, there you go. Now, I want to point out to you, this is all being zipped. Zip means it's been not extracted. So what happens in this case is you have to go and click this download. See this file on the download here. There's a little zip file like this. You have to right click it and you have to extract all.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And then make sure you, so under the download here, see the little zipping here?
Mhm.
So you have to right click it and then you have to say extract all.
But if you have a Mac, is it the same?
The same, yep. But make sure you know where you download it. I don't know, I'm not, I think do they have a download? So for Mac, I think that's a download too. And then make sure you know where you want to put it. So if, so make sure you put in some places that you know, make sure maybe it's under document, and then usually I put data, document and data. So I know that it's in there. And then you hit, then you select the folder and then you hit extract. And once you hit extract, all your data will be extracted to that folder. So make sure you guys do this because we will use this in next week class. So make sure you guys extract your folder here. Okay, it's very important. Anyone have any questions for me?
So the instructions that you just gave, that will download everything into StarCrunch.
Into your C drive.
Oh, the C drive. Okay, because
yep. And then once you got, and once you got the C drive, then you can actually upload it from StatCrunch.
Okay.
So does it upload individually? So like if we're dealing with birth, age, or any.
If you do the way I just showed it to you, they will do the whole thing. They will extract all of this.
Okay, then
when you do extract, you have to do extract all.
Okay,
yep.
So like when you need to do like further calculation, once you go to the StarCrunch, if you're dealing with birth or age, anything, you can just go
then you just go to, you go to data, you go to load, you go from files on the computer.
Okay, then you can go either age, birth.
And then you pick where is it at, the one that, you know, then, in the test, I will tell you which file you pick. Let's say bears, I will tell you to pick bears. But when you pick bears, make sure you select the delimiters as tab. So it will look something like that. If you don't select, see if you put comma, it's all in icky like this. So make sure you put this as tab. See, now you put a tab, they're all spread out for you. See that?
Okay, I'm confused about this part. Like, so once you download that stuff that you just did, that data and download it, it's already in the computer. So then it will fill in for StarCrunch. But
no, you have to upload it to StarCrunch.
Oh, I have to upload it. So this is how you upload it right here.
Yep.
So you have to upload individually, or like will everything be in there?
You just upload one. It depends on the file. I mean, sometimes I just want bears, so you just do bears like this.
Oh.
So it's up. I will tell you what file to upload.
Okay, because that.
And once you upload, then you get this whole bears, like this.
Okay.
And does it stay there permanently until you're done?
Yes, if you have an account, I don't know you have an account or not. I do have an account. So if the account is free, you can create a new account and it will be already there. Yep. So if you go to your account, so I do not know, some of you, see, this is my account and they already have bears already there. Already being saved. So, but do not worry about that. Once you're in your hard drive, you can always re-upload it every time, anytime you want.
Okay. If I have any questions, I will email you.
Yep, email me. And I will do this. And don't forget, I will do this again next week, next week. So you get used, so you will get used.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone have any questions for me? I'm gonna stop recording.